Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So I have for you guys today, I have another episode of the Championship Roundup, guys, and I must say, before we get into rounding up all this week's action, guys, this was probably one of the most bizarre weekends of the Championship that we've had this season so far. I think we've had like a record amount of red cards this week in the Championship than we've seen this season. We had a fight between two teammates. Obviously I'll be covering that myself, being a Preston North End fan, and we had quite a few shock results as well. So going through this Championship roundup, guys, is definitely going to be a controversial one perhaps. So leave it a comment in the comments down below as to how well you think your team performed, and as well as that, leave a comment on what you thought of some of the controversies taking place this weekend, guys. I'll be very interested to know what you guys had to say about the action taking place this weekend. But before we get into any of the matches, guys, I will put your comments on screen now. So if you did successfully manage to predict any of the scorelines that occurred this weekend, guys, I will leave your comment on screen now. So fair play to everyone who successfully managed to get a prediction right this week. Myself this week, I managed to get one prediction right. That was, unfortunately for me, that was the Sheffield Wednesday against Preston game. I said that one would finish 2-1 to Sheffield Wednesday. In the end, it finished just that, unfortunately for me. But we'll get to that later. First of all, we'll get into our first match to round up. Okay, guys, so the first match we have to talk about is QPR coming up against Wolves. So this match actually took place on Thursday night. A bit of a weird one, really. I'm not sure why that was the case. But like I said, I did actually manage to catch this match. It was one taking place on Sky. And first of all, QPR weren't aided by the red cards showed to Perch in this match. Really didn't help them. They were playing 10 men for the majority of this match after he was sent off in the 35th minute for 2 yellow cards. I've seen quite a few QPR fans who thought that this was quite harsh on him, really. And what I'll say was, I could agree with that really, but what I'd say is he's given the referee an option to, you know, brandish those cards to get him sent off. So really that was a needless one that put QPR against to their backs against the wall in this match, really. And then going into the second half, Wolves really stepped up the tempo for them. They managed to get 2 quick goals, and Costa's goal, by the way, the second goal that Wolves scored, was absolutely magnificent. It was just a fantastic finish. The way he weaved past all the QPR players was absolutely superb. But a late surge from QPR. I felt quite sorry for Ian Holloway, really. He wasn't getting the reaction out of his players that he was wanting. He was demanding more from them from the touchline, and in the end they managed to get a consolation goal back, and perhaps we're quite unlucky actually not to get another goal in this match to level it up. But I've got to give a special shout out to Alex Smithies, who was fantastic for QPR in this match. He really did keep the scoreline down because he saved a numerous amount of one-on-one chances. But in the end, Wolves got a massively deserved win, and one that will propel them away from relegation for the time being. Then into our next match, guys, we have Nottingham Forest going up against Newcastle United. So this game now being played on the Friday night, and once again this was just a match which just climatized, which was just surrounded in drama for this match. In this game we had 2 red cards for 2 Newcastle players, 2 penalties for Nottingham Forest, which were both subsequently missed, and in the end Forest walked away with a 2-1 victory. This was just a mental match all around. So going into this game, of course, Newcastle would have been the favourites going into this one, but I must ask some Newcastle fans, are you a bit worried by your current form? I mean, that's now 3 defeats on the bounce now, of course involving that cup game as well, or do you think that the majority of this really result was down to a very poor refereeing performance? I mean, I must say that it was I was just in quite a shock, really. I mean, Newcastle had 2 players sent off in the first half, both John Joe Shelby and Paul Dummett, for there were 2 things which were stupid. I mean, I didn't think the Dummett one was a red card personally, and the Shelby one was just reckless. I mean, I don't know why he's done that, really. He's left the referee to make a decision. In the end, he's decided to make the red card. But in the second half, Nottingham Forest, I expected them to go for it a little bit more. I mean, I know they did get the victory in this match, but even so, when they were playing against 9 men, they still sat back a little bit and didn't attack Newcastle to the intent that they needed to, and in the end it actually took them to the 86th minute to actually get the winning goal in this match with a Lascelles own goal. So a little bit, it wasn't the best from Nottingham Forest, but I mean, they are to be expected to beat 9 men of Newcastle. But this has actually started a decent run of form now for Nottingham Forest, so it'll be interesting to see where they can actually go from here. At the City Ground this season, they've not been too badly this season, but Newcastle on the other hand, you know, they've got Brighton breathing down their necks at this point in time, so let me know what you thought of the game, Newcastle fans, down below. Then into our next match, guys, we have Birmingham coming up against Barnsley. So once again in this match, guys, we have another red card. This is just absolute madness. But going into this match, I can't really see Birmingham having too many complaints really in this match. I mean, the way the general flow of this match went, I thought Barnsley were the better side in this one, and quite unsuspectingly as well. I mean, Barnsley were on quite a bad run of form, and this victory really was needed for them, and Birmingham sort of juxtaposed that really with a good run of form that they've recently been on. Obviously, they currently find themselves in a playoff spot, so going into this one, I was actually expecting Birmingham to not walk it, but get a comfortable victory. But in the end, that wasn't to be, and you know, a muchly deserved victory for Barnsley in the end. So let me know what you thought of this game, Barnsley and Birmingham fans. Be very interested to know. Then for our next match, guys, we have Blackburn Rovers coming up against Huddersfield Town. So in this encounter, it actually managed to finish level as a 1-1 in the end, and a very decent result actually for Blackburn Rovers. And it makes me a little bit nervous really, as Preston's next fixture is actually taking place against Blackburn. So I'm a bit apprehensive going into this game actually, with Blackburn on a decent run of form. But in terms of how the general flow of the match went, I thought that Huddersfield were the better side in this game, and probably were quite disappointed actually not to go ahead and pick up all 3 points. I mean, if the aim at the end of the season is going to be to get into the playoffs, these are the sort of matches which Huddersfield need to be turning into wins. A draw like this, I mean, for Blackburn Rovers, I didn't think it was the best performance really. I mean, towards the start of the season, I saw Blackburn were putting in a lot of decent performances, but not really getting the results from them. I saw this game as quite the opposite of that actually. I didn't think Blackburn were at their best, but they still managed to grind it out and get a point in this one. I mean, it was a denigrating penalty which managed to level it up in the end, and proves to be a very vital point for Blackburn perhaps come the end of the season. Then into our next match, guys, we have Bristol City coming up against Ipswich Town. So in terms of how this game panned out, of course, Bristol City managed to walk away victorious thanks to a Tomlin penalty and just a wonder goal from Freeman. I don't know if you guys have seen this goal, but it was just such a sweetly struck volley. It was absolutely fantastic. It darted into the top corner, and is a contender to get the goal of the weekend, I must say that. But a fantastic goal for him, and in the end that did turn out to be the difference between the two sides. I thought, you know, in terms of the chances that both teams got, of course Bristol City took the majority of the chances they had, but in terms of the possession and other chances created, it was actually quite a level match actually, and I thought that Ipswich would have been quite disappointed. I mean, this is a game that they'll have probably been targeting to get a point out of with the current form that Bristol City before this game they found themselves on. But a big win indeed for Bristol City, and that once again that puts them in touch and distance of making the playoffs for the end of the season, and it just complements the league really as to how tight it is. That Bristol City went on a bit of a bad run lately, but with this win yet again they're back in the picture for it again. So I love to know Bristol City's ambitions for the end of the season really, as a very well deserved 2-0 victory in the end. And then into our next match, guys, we have Burton Albion coming up against Rotherham United. So I think what this game shows more than anything is it more than seals Rotherham's relegation to League One at the end of the season. I mean, they're currently without a manager, and to be fair to Rotherham, they did put in quite a spirited performance in this game, and their players really did give it their all, and it was quite disheartening to see them not get anything from this match. But Burton Albion, of course, their home form this season has been what's keeping them just above the relegation zone at this point in time, so it was pivotal that for them at least, coming up against a team like Rotherham, of course, who sit bottom of the championship with only 7 points, it was vital that they got the victory in this game, and in the end they did just that. Goals from Irvine and Palmer in this match was enough to see off Rotherham United. So Rotherham fans, what do you think needs to happen, and who do you want to see as your new manager? I mean, realistically, it's going to be a manager that's come in now that's going to need to prepare for League One. I mean, if Rotherham were able to stay up, I don't know what I'd do. I mean, I feel like we should have to do something if Rotherham managed to stay up, but I can't see it happening personally, and I don't think anyone can, to be honest. But a massive win for Burton, which just keeps them above relegation. Then for our next match, guys, we have Cardiff City coming up against Brighton, and in this game, yet again, another red card in this match, this time for Bong in the last minute. And in this game, you know, this was obviously taking place on Saturday, and with the Newcastle game taking place prior to this on the Friday, Brighton will have seen this as a massive opportunity, and with a victory in this match, they could have actually gone top of the championship. And to consider, you know, the run that Newcastle went on at one point of the season, for them to be able to go above them in this match would have been massive for them, but they just couldn't manage to do it. And fair play to Cardiff City, you know, in this match. They put in a very structured performance. That's how I describe it, really, with how they played. And they were very stable at the back. They wouldn't let Brighton break them down. And in the end, you know, that proved to be well for them as they got a 0-0 draw out of this. I mean, going into this match, I think Cardiff will have taken that point, really, as Brighton, of course, being a high flyer this season. I mean, we've seen it so far this season, you know, with Brighton, like, ripping apart teams like Norwich this season. So for Cardiff to actually get a point from this match, I think is very respectable indeed. It's just that going forward, they never really troubled Brighton too much really to get anything more than a point from this match, but they'll more than take it. A bit of a disappointing one for Brighton perhaps, but they'll look to bounce back from this really with a victory next week, guys. But with this draw, actually, that means they go 1 point off Newcastle now, so it's getting tight at the top now. Then for our next match, guys, we have Fulham coming up against Reading, and this was just, I could not believe this when it actually happened. Fulham beat Reading 5-0, and considering the run which Reading have been on recently, this was just a monumental score for Fulham. And I think what was most surprising really was that actually Reading got dominated in terms of possession. I mean, what we've normally associated Reading with this season was having a lot of the ball and slowly breaking down their opposition, but that was not the case in this game. I will say a large majority of that probably was to do with the Danny Williams red card. I mean, another red card in this game, which is just madness. But Danny Williams actually got sent off in the 54th minute, and I feel like after that red card, really, the onus went on to Fulham to really just put the knife really into Reading, and subsequently they managed to get 3 more goals in this game. So possibly, you know, without that red card, they might have been able to have a late surge in the match and get a point from this match maybe. But after that happened, you know, Fulham just dominated in this game and looked electric going forward. I mean, Chris Martin was excellent. Gunter for Reading had a day to forget really with an own goal in this match, and once again Sonny Aluko looked fantastic for Fulham. So could Fulham make the playoffs at the end of the season? Let me know down below. And Reading fans, what did you think of this game? Do you think it's just a little blip, or do you think this could lead to a bit of a snowball effect? Let me know down below. Then for our next match, guys, we have another 5-0 hammering. This time Norwich City managed to beat Brentford by 5 goals to 0, and this is probably one of the most needed victories in the Championship at this point in time. Going into this match, I was actually predicting this one to be quite a cagey affair. I mean, both Norwich and Brentford are coming off the back of a disappointing run of form, and this is really just added to the poor run of form which Brentford currently find themselves under. But Norwich, maybe, do you think Norwich fans that this will turn out to be a turning point in the season? Let me know down below. I'd be very interested to know, but it'll be interesting to see actually if this will turn out to be a wake-up call to the Brentford squad. I mean, I know myself being a Preston fan, the 5-0 defeat we actually suffered to Brentford turned out to be a catalyst for us to get some good form going, because really that serves as a wake-up call to a lot of our players. So do you think it will have a similar effect for these Brentford players? And Norwich fans, do you think Alex Neil, this could be a turning point for your season? Let me know down below, because this was a massive result for you guys. And then to our next match, guys, we have Sheffield Wednesday coming up against Preston North End, and we're not going to talk about the football for too long, because there was of course a massive incident which I'm sure all of you guys will be aware, which we'll come on to in just a second, guys. So talking about the football, first of all, guys, it was Sheffield Wednesday who took the lead early on in this game thanks to Forestieri after just 9 minutes. Then after that, both sides actually had a good chance to get back into this game. I mean, Preston had a good chance with Aidan McGeady, and then Sheffield Wednesday had a glorious chance for Will Buckley, which he somehow managed to head wide from about 6 yards out. But then getting into the second half, this is where it of course got interesting. Forestieri got a red card in the 65th minute for, I think it was an off the ball incident with Ben Pearson, which is why he actually got sent off. Owen Doyle and Jermaine Beckford then come on as a substitute for this match. Owen Doyle manages to get a goal back for Preston, and at this point in time, Preston are playing against the 10 men of Sheffield Wednesday. Preston of course had the advantage, and the way we were pressing in this match, I didn't watch it myself, but I was listening to it on the radio, but the way we were pressing in this match late on, I mean, there was 6 minutes of added time in this game. I genuinely believe that if we still had 11 players on the pitch, we would have got something from this game. A moment of madness has ended up costing us this game in the end, and I just think it's absolutely disgraceful, really. I mean, what's happening, more than anything, I think it's just embarrassing, really. And basically, if you're not aware of what happened, let me quickly summarise what actually went on. So Owen Doyle had the ball, he had an opportunity to play Jermaine Beckford through on goal, he chose not to, he chose to pass to Vermeil instead. He then hit the ball over the bar, and Beckford's reaction to this was just unacceptable. He went straight over to Doyle, exchanged some very angry words with him, we'll just say that, and then started shoving him. Doyle of course then gave it back to Beckford, and I wouldn't really say it was much of a fight, really. I mean, I know a lot of people have been branding this as a massive, you know, incident and fight and all that sort of stuff, jazzing it up to be a bit more than it actually was. It was a couple of shoves, there was probably a bit of swearing in there as well, but in all honesty, it wasn't much of a fight. But saying that, it was just totally unacceptable from both players. And I will say this, I mean, Owen Doyle and Jermaine Beckford at this point in time are not popular among a lot of Preston North End fans. I mean, Doyle was not a popular signing when he was brought into the club, and Beckford's injury record is just abysmal at this point in time. So if we were to let go of them in January, I wouldn't be too disappointed myself, but in the end it's cost us this game. Fair play to Sheffield Wednesday. Then for our next match, guys, we have Derby County coming up against Wigan Athletic. So this one taking place at Wigan, and Derby actually managed to walk away with a 1-0 victory, which more than anything has bolstered their promotion campaign for the end of the season. I mean, this victory for Derby has taken them into 9th place, and they are now only 2 points off the playoffs come the end of the season. So I'd love to get some Derby opinions on just how has Steve McLaren managed to turn this around from just that awful start you had to the season. If I would actually suggest that actually Wigan were quite unlucky not to get anything from this game. The way they were pressing Derby late on in this match, they actually did quite well in this game, Wigan, but they just couldn't find that pivotal, that that just attacking intent, which they have been lacking for the majority of this season, and which is why, of course, they find themselves in the relegation zone. It's just that the final cutting edge from Wigan, which they're lacking, and which has cost them really in this game, with Derby getting the victory. And then for our last match, guys, we have Leeds United coming up against Aston Villa. So for any of you Leeds fans or Aston Villa fans, let me know in the comments down below what you actually thought of this game. So going into this match, this was actually a massive encounter for two promotion chasers at this point in time. I mean, going into this match, Aston Villa were actually unbeaten under Steve Bruce, and obviously Leeds United have been fantastic lately under Gary Monk. So this really was, there was a lot of onus being put on this game and a lot of speculation building up to it, but it was Leeds in the end who managed to walk away with the victory. Kemar Rufe managing to bag his first goal as well for Leeds United. What I will say, I did think that Aston Villa probably were actually looking like the more lively side going into this game before Rufe actually got that opening goal, and it was Chris Wood who managed to seal it off with a 2-0 victory in the end. So that is a massive result for Leeds in the end, and you know, once again, the Leeds and Aston Villa are just more sides which I think are more than capable of making the playoffs at the end of the season, and for anyone to call it at this point in time would just be, it's just so hard to do with all the teams going for it at the moment, guys. But in the end, it was a massive result for Leeds. Bit of a disappointing one for Aston Villa, but this has more than bolstered their promotion campaign indeed. And then, guys, for my result of the weekend, I'm actually going to give this one to Fulham for beating Reading by 5 goals still. I think to put 5 goals past this very normally well-organised Reading side really was fantastic, and just the way they took apart Reading in this game, I'm going to give it to them. So a fantastic result for them. My result of the weekend is going to be Fulham beating Reading 5-0. Let me know in the comments down below what is your result of the weekend. And then for my goal of the weekend, guys, I'm going to give it to Luke Freeman for that fantastic volley he scored against Ipswich Town. Just the way he hit it, I just absolutely loved it. I mean, a close contender for this match will be Costa from Wolves. I thought his goal against QPR was absolutely sublime as well, but I am going to give it to Freeman in this match. Just a fantastic goal from him. So let me know in the comments down below as well who got your goal of the weekend. So there we have it, guys. That will wrap it up for this week's Championship Roundup, guys. So this was just a mad week in the Championship, guys. We had a record number of red cards. Everything was going off, so much drama. So let me know in the comments down below, guys, what you thought of it all, guys. I'd be very interested to know what you guys have to say. But like I said, guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So thank you so much for watching. So if you have enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you do leave a like. It really does help me out. As well as that, make sure you check out all the links in the description down below. But other than that, guys, as well as that, make sure you follow me on Twitter. I always tweet before I upload a video, therefore you'll never miss a video ever again, guys. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.